It is kind of very murky morally, but that's exciting to play. They've covered everything, and they're completely relaxed. It's a wonderful work environment.
I just sort of sit there going, well, I would never think of that, and that would be overwhelming to me. And like,
I'm having an out-of-body experience right now. I can't believe this is actually happening.
3.
Truman needs to know what's next.
2.
What's next?
1.
Hi, my name is Sucharita. I'm here representing PVR INOX, which is the largest cinema chain in India.
Cool.
Talking about India, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, is the most repeated quote of Oppenheimer's, and he borrowed it from the Gita, and he learned Sanskrit at Berkeley.
Yeah.
Do you think his interpretation of this Indian scripture still holds true for humanity and like our relentless pursuit of all things new?
Oh, that's a good question. I did read the Bhagavad Gita in preparation, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful text, very inspiring, and I think it was a consolation to him. I think he kind of needed it, and it provided a lot of consolation to him all his life, I believe. Yeah.
Your learnings from reading the Gita, you said in preparation you read it.
Yeah, I mean, don't grill me on it.
I'm no expert.
Yeah, but I just found it very beautiful.
Yeah. And some behind the scenes footage that's on YouTube, you see that gigantic IMAX cameras were in your face.
Yeah.
There's close-ups of your eyeball in the trailer. What does that do to an actor, to your performance?
You know, you get used to it. I'm a kind of a Nolan IMAX veteran, so I'm used to having those huge cameras close up. They make a terrific racket, but you just get used to it, really. And I mean, you know, it was unusual to use IMAX cameras for that kind of interior landscape, but he really wanted to do that.
Keep everyone there until it's done. Let's go recruit some scientists.
they're so cool.
Let me say it too. That is an awesome outfit.
Awesome outfit.
Thank you. It's a small women-owned business in India.
It's
Really?
gorgeous.
Ah, cool.
I
Thank
love it.
you.
You can see I like a nice suit.
My name is Sucharita, and I'm here on behalf of PVR INOX. It's the largest cinema chain in India.
Cool.
Speaking of large, gigantic IMAX cameras in your face, there's behind-the-scenes footage on YouTube. What does that do to an actor, to your performance, having these big things in your face?
We were saying when we started out, the cameras were bigger.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is how old we are. We've been doing this a long time.
When I started out, they were bigger than IMAX cameras.
Really?
No. They were very big.
Those cameras are this big, though. the
There's
IMAX
something
ones.
about like Hoyte Van Hoytema, who shot it, who's just extraordinary. Even though Hoyte's such a big personality, when he has that camera on his back, you kind of just he disappears. Like Chris disappears, he disappears. The whole set was so focused, and I think you realize the vastness of the set you're on. You hope it's being captured by IMAX. It was such an extraordinary set to be on. It just was part of the process on this movie. I think everyone stopped thinking about it and stopped seeing them.
And there's something so intimate about it. I don't know, because Chris stands there right next to the camera, and it's kind of like you roll, it's kind of like you're continuing this conversation with him, where he's, you know, kind of very relaxed, and he creates this really relaxed atmosphere, and Hoyte is very relaxed, and you're just talking, okay, well, let's move in. Hoyte kind of puts the camera on his shoulder, and you just kind of do the scene, and it's, even though it's like he works at the biggest scale possible in Hollywood terms, everything kind of feels intimate, and so...
Very relaxed.
Very relaxed, and it just feels like the camera kind of goes away.
But is there an awareness that people are going to watch this on the biggest screen humanity has ever seen before? When you're shooting?
But that doesn't change what's happening in the scene, right? The performance. It's all about the connection to the person, and you're listening to them, and Chris has walked you through the dynamics and what's at play in the scene. You're so well armed with information when you go in to play these scenes that there doesn't feel anything to be worried about or anything. It's just about executing. And Chris is so relaxed. He finishes and he goes, "Yeah, all right, what do you think?"
Yeah, like when he's happy with something, he goes, "Yeah, happy, okay, moving on."
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's done, you know.
But if you're like, "Can I have one more?" Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, it just could not be more. And so it has this very real, I think it's interesting. As a director who makes these massive movies, it's very rare to see and I'm leaving myself out of this, so I don't sound like I'm tooting my horn. It's very rare to see great acting in big movies, and all of Chris's movies have great acting in them.
Yeah.
Like really remarkable performances, and that's because he really understands that part of it, and that is a big part of what makes movies good.
Why would we go to the middle of nowhere for who knows how long?
Hi, Mr. Nolan. I'm Sucharita. I am here from PVR Inox, the largest cinema chain in India. We are aware of the experience the audience gets on a big screen. There's like unparalleled immersion. But why do you think it's important for filmmakers to continue to tell stories for the big screen?
I think the theatrical experience is totally unique in all media, in that it gives you the visceral, subjective experience of a story that you could perhaps get from a novel, but it combines that with the empathy of the audience around you, the audience experience. And there's no other medium that gives you both those approaches to engaging an audience. So as a film goer, I value that tremendously. As a filmmaker, I value that tremendously.
I got the experience of watching it in the giantest screen possible a couple of days ago, so I'm like incredibly fortunate that happened. Oppenheimer famously realized that he crossed the point of no return. You see that moment in the film as well. Are you making a parallel here with the current state of humanity and our relentless chase to master all the realms? Can technology be stopped before we become destroyer of worlds?
I think the film has a lot of relevance to our relationship with technology today. There are a lot of researchers in the field of AI, for example, who they literally refer to our time right now as their Oppenheimer moment. They are looking to Oppenheimer's story to try and see what perhaps they should be thinking about in terms of the responsibility of technology, the creators of technology, scientists, for what unintended consequences there may be for what they put out there in the world. And I think Oppenheimer's story, I don't know if it offers any easy answers, but it certainly raises troubling and important questions that they should all be paying attention to.
That's a very good question. I don't have the answer. I think it is a cautionary tale for sure, you know, and the way people talk about AI now, they're comparing it to the splitting of the atom. I don't know, you know, I hope we can harness it for good. Yes. That would be my hope, yeah.
Have you seen an evolution in Christopher Nolan, though, since you're outing with him in Interstellar? Does he still surprise you?
Yes.
You have not seen an evolution in his...
I think he's just refining what is brilliant technique. I mean, if you go back to Memento and you go, well, this guy.
I did. I watched everything.
Yeah, he's got every tool in the toolbox. He's just brilliant.
This is your movie number 6 with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Does he still surprise you as a writer, director, or are you like an old married couple at this point, finishing each other's sentences?
No, there's a good shorthand, and I think trust above all is the most important thing that we have together. Yeah. You know, I really trust him, and I hope he feels the same about me.
But are you still surprised with the material that he comes
always
with?
You know, I think he's just continuing to refine and improve his work all the time. It's kind of astonishing. I think this might be his finest movie. Yeah.
Wow, you really think so?
I think it might be his magnum opus. Yeah.
In certain moments, you almost feel the heat coming from the screen. It's that immersive. Are the explosions happening inside his head? Are they happening inside my body? I don't know. Did you set out to achieve that effect with Hoyte Van Hoytema?
Very much. I mean, Hoyte and myself, we've used IMAX technology for vast landscapes and action sequences. And in the case of Oppenheimer, we knew that for the Trinity test, the level of immersion, really bringing the audience to that first experience of atomic fission, IMAX would be very important to that. But also, Hoyte was excited about the intimacy, using these cameras in a more intimate way, really trying to get inside Oppenheimer's head. I had written the script in the first person and you know, given it to Cillian and to say, you know, you have to open yourself to the audience. We have to see things entirely from Oppenheimer's point of view. And IMAX and the large screen turns out to be very important in bringing the audience in and having the screen disappear and being immersed in not just the sort of excitement of the movie, but also his viewpoint, his thought process.
Both of you are also producers separately outside of your acting careers. When you're on a gigantic Christopher Nolan set, are you subconsciously taking notes as people who are also enabling other storytellers?
It's too late.
This is what I should do.
At that point, it's too late. No, because he and Emma are so well prepared. She is, by the way,
she's a brilliant.
She's one of the best producers to ever have done it. And the two of them together, you know, because they're married, it's like all of these discussions have happened, and so you never see either of their pulse raise at all. They've covered everything, and they're completely relaxed. It's a wonderful work environment. It's just it's so pleasant for the actors.
Emily, for you, do you learn anything as a producer when you're on such a big movie set?
I mean, you learn so much. I mean, endless absorption of like things that you would never be capable of doing, to be honest. Like, I just sort of sit there going, well, I would never think of that. And that would be overwhelming to me. And like, I mean, I think I learn everything. I learn everything every day on every film set I'm on. But when you're on a Chris Nolan movie, there's just something that has been, it's so exacting and it's so dialed in and there's no chaos. And it's a very profound experience being on a Chris Nolan movie. It's one I'll never forget. It's one I have learned endless things from. And I just want to do it again.
Yeah, me too.
Really. I hope he doesn't put us on ice for a little bit.
Yeah. If that was the last one that I got to do with Chris Nolan, I'm very grateful.
Then that's a good one to do.
I'm really grateful that I had the chance to work with him. I desperately hope that's not the case. I hope I can work with him and Emma a lot more.
Yes.
It's fascinating to hear how calm his sets are because his movies are anything but.
Yeah.
I'm always wondering what the continuity supervisors are doing on set because it's just like, what timeline are we in right now?
Yeah. For sure. It takes... But look, everybody goes with laser focus. Every single department is at the top of their game because they know they're working for Chris Nolan.
World War II, when you read about it, it's been called the last just war, but it had the unjust atomic bombings that occurred. Playing central figures in a movie like this, they, at that point in time, didn't know the chain of reactions they were setting in motion, but you as an actor going into that role, you were aware of what Oppenheimer did and his work. How do you approach a character like that, knowing what his work led to?
Yes, it was very difficult, very complex. He was so kind of contradictory, you know? And, you talk about the Second World War being just, I suppose it was, but it became very kind of opaque and muddy around the time when Germany surrendered. And they were, they still went forward with producing the bomb, and then obviously we know what happened in Japan. So it is kind of very murky morally, but that's exciting to play and really interesting to try and portray a protagonist that is so complicated.
Lastly, why must people experience this on the biggest screen possible in their cities? I
think you put your finger on. I think it is an experience. It's kind of more than a film. Chris likes to compare IMAX to like. It's like 3D without the glasses, because it is so hugely immersive. So I guess that's the reason.
When we push that button, we destroy the world. Chances are near zero.
Lastly, sir, do you see cinema as having a responsibility of bringing stories like this into the current conversations in a world where we live in a post-truth world? A lot of these stories are forgotten and people don't want to really talk about them, the impact of people like Oppenheimer and how that continues to impact our world. Do you think it's important?
I wouldn't necessarily say that cinema has the responsibility to do it so much as it has the opportunity to do it. I mean, these sort of stories, Oppenheimer's story, for example, it's the most dramatic story I've ever come across. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity for a filmmaker to take it on and for audiences to experience something perhaps they don't know anything about, but really be engaged with an extraordinary piece of history that's as dramatic and as paradoxical and tense and exciting as anything that I could invent as a writer of fiction. And that's what history has to offer filmmakers. So I view it as almost more of an opportunity than a responsibility. But certainly looking at the past and seeing how we can engage audiences with it and see its relevance to our current moment, that's an exciting thing. I'm having an out-of-body experience right now. I can't believe this is actually happening. Lovely, though. Thank you so much for your time today. Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much, Mr. Murphy, for your time today. I'm so excited.
Pleasure. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This gentleman's just asking.
He's like, leave.